Good evening, everyone. Chris Durrell here, along with Dane and I. How's it going tonight, buddy?
It's going good. We got only a few hours to lock now, which is crazy. I guess we got, 7 hours to
About,
lock,
yeah,
somewhere around
six and
there?
a half hours. It's time. It's go time.
Yeah, we're used to we'd have 12 to 13 hours, but you can't go to bed tonight and not have your lineup set, which I'm sure you can't ever go to bed without having your lineup set. Because I have
That's a
my
good
lock usually is at 7 when we're on the East Coast, but you're, I guess, at like 4 or 5. So
1 a.m. Yeah, I got a 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. lock here tonight. So it's going to be interesting for sure. I've only made two lineups this far, but you know what? I decided I was going to go with that route at the start of the week simply because this would be the time of the week normally at a major after I've already built 20, 30 lineups where I would go start changing said lineups, second guessing myself over and over. So if I do this live show and then after that I go ahead, I'm going to make my lineups and then I'm just going to shut my computer off and I'm just going to go with it. Then there's no second guessing and there's no waking up and going shit. Had a good conversation on Twitter this afternoon. I forget who it was right now, but he posted something about there's nothing like waking up in the morning, seeing and going, oh shit, why is that guy leading? And then scrolling all the way down to the bottom to see if you have any guys at like +5, +6 early. And I said, yeah, a tradition like none other.
uh-huh.
So it depends if I could stay up or not. I really don't think I'm going to make 1 a.m. myself, but really excited to build these lineups. I've got my player pool narrowed down like we were talking offline here I'm down to 15 players. I think you said you're not even at 20 players in your player pool yet. So we got really tight player pools. Let's just start off. You mentioned before we were coming on what we thought about the Brooks press conference stuff. We were talking about it in chat a little bit. I thought it was very interesting, some of the stuff that you had brought up here. I'm just going to, I can't find it right now, but he was talking about how, like, thickest rough he's seen in the last 5 years. This isn't, I think you said this isn't his, you've seen that he said this isn't his favorite open venue, but he said it doesn't really matter. He can win anywhere, which I totally believe. But the thickest rough thing is really interesting simply because we talked about in the preview video earlier this week, the humps and bumps around here. Like you can hit it in the middle of the fairway and it could jump sideways. So not only do you have that, and then it's going to be probably fast and firm, leading up to lock here later. It's going to be a challenge out there. I think I've definitely boosted fairways gain and driving accuracy up there a little bit. I think it's going to be crucial. And the guys that we see on Sunday that are in contention of winning this thing are going to just be hitting a lot of fairways and giving themselves a lot of chance with their irons to go ahead and make some birdies when needed, or at least get in there with par, because that rough looks absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway was about the rough. The thing about it, I guess, was that everybody was saying that in their press conference because it was early in the week and they were getting some rain. I think it was Fleetwood, mentioned that it would probably dry out a little bit later on before their tee times today or tomorrow or whenever they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think that it's going to dry out throughout the week because there's not much rain in the forecast from what I had seen. It's going to be interesting to see if it does play that way because it's going to get tougher to hit those fairways. Some people are going to be hitting the sides of the fairways and it running out through quite a bit. But yeah, with Brooks, he seemed to dwell on it quite a bit that he really doesn't like the course. But then he followed that up by saying it doesn't matter and that he has won at courses he doesn't like at all before. He kind of said that the main thing that he doesn't like is the blind tee shots. He said it multiple times that that's something he really doesn't like. I guess. I mean, I think he is. I take him at his word that he feels good about where he's at, no matter if he likes the course or not.
With that said, I know where I got him in my rankings. He's down a little bit for me just because of price and how I'm building my lineups in terms of exposure. I think you like him probably more than me. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah. He's the number one guy up top for me. I just like overall where he's at. I mentioned on our preview show that how he kind of came over here after college, and I think that really helped him quite a bit. He mentioned it in his presser too about Ricky Elliot, his caddy, has helped him a ton because he grew up on links, and that has really helped him throughout his career when he comes over here, and it's shown it in the results. Like we talked about, 3 top 10s in his last 4 over here. So I expect him to show up. He said he will be there on Sunday near the final group. So I believe him.
Yep, and the form's been good as well. We talk about the Open Championship history, Major Championship history, but looking at Fantasy National here real quick, he's got 3 top 5s in his last 4 events, and it seems like if not missing a cut, which obviously the Masters is a big event, but Palmetto and Byron Nelson not big events. At these big events is when he really shows up, and he has just been on fire tee to green at these events. So 100% with you there. He's just down a little bit for me because I'm building around Jordan Spieth this week. He is number 1 overall in my model on the sheet. He's number 1 overall in my short-term model on Fantasy National as well. Both of them are going off early. We talked about the wind. Let's touch on that weather here real quick before we move on, because we are going to hit on it a few times throughout the show. So Thursday, we got about 12 to 15 mile an hour winds, gusts 20 to 30. It's about the same for Friday and Saturday right now. We were talking about it off air as well. It's going to be tough to predict, so I'm not playing any waves or anything like that, just because the gusts, we don't know when those gusts are going to be coming, who they're going to affect, what part of the courses they're going to come on, or anything like that. So I'm just playing it pretty simple, looking for guys that play well in the wind. And I did mention a possible strategy on today's show, on the tutorial show a little bit, where if you do want to stack wind and maybe there is going to be an hour or two that pops up that's going to be a huge advantage or a huge, that's going to hurt someone or hurt a group or 2 or 3 or 4, go ahead and find like on the sheet, on the tee times. I don't have it up here, but you can just sort here right now. There is on the main sheet. This is just my show sheet, but I do have the tee times tab. You can just come and sort by time, and then just kind of pick like a group, say like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and kind of go in there. I'm not doing that personally. It looks like it's pretty steady and pretty unpredictable. But early in the morning was mentioned by the head greenskeeper. I mentioned that in the notes earlier this week as well, that just the wind doesn't seem to be as bad in the morning. So earlier the better. Both of those players go off quite early in the morning here. So, but Spieth, just at his price, I definitely like. He's won the Open back in 2017. He's coming in with excellent form. He's excellent around the green. He's been excellent on the par 4s lately. He just kind of hits on everything for me. So he's going to be probably the highest owned in this whole entire field, probably looking at 25 to 30% in GPPs. Now, if you are loading up on Jordan Spieth, he is your number 1 player, or if Brooks is your top player, I don't really worry about the ownership. No one's going to get to the point where I'd be like, whoa, I'm going to fade him because he's going to be 40 to 50%. That's not an option. He's going to be 26%. Let's just say even 30%. So if you're playing a 20 max, that means like 6 lineups. So to be overweight on him, you'd probably want to put him in like 8, even up to 10. If you go 12, you're going to be double the field, so that if he wins, you're going to have just that many more opportunities to put the right lineup together with him in there than the average on the field. So does that make sense, Dane? Do you kind of look at it that same way in terms of ownership?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm at, that he's not going to be the priority for me this week. So I'm still struggling with, do I play him? I was kind of telling you beforehand that I'm kind of struggling to get some extra people up top into my pool this week. And Spieth is right on that fringe. And because I am prioritizing Brooks, and we'll get to Hatton that I'm prioritizing as well from 9K and up, it's kind of hard for me to get overweight on Jordan. Not to say that I don't like him, but in a 20 max type build, I'm not sure that I would have to kind of play even with the field. And at that point, I don't know that that's something I want to do. Maybe it is, but I'll kind of decide that later on. Looks like we got a question from John. Would you go away from Spieth in single entry to gain an edge? I do. If you play single entry every week, I really do see that the ownership on some of these chalk guys goes up quite a bit. I mean, I would expect in single entry for Spieth instead of being 27 to 30 or whatever we're thinking in the regular other contests. Single entry, I'm expecting him to be near 40. At that point,
I agree.
I will not be playing him in single entry. If he's your priority and you think he's the best play in the field, I don't see a problem with it. It's just for me, he's not that priority, and I will be going away and fading a 35 to 40% on guy. And we'll touch on that too in the value plays, because there's some of those as well that are going to, in single entry, be much higher than what they're showing projected.
Mm-hmm. I love that point that you made about single entry versus the builds. You can get a lot more leverage in a single entry fading someone in these high variance sports, kind of like NASCAR, as well as PGA, where single entry would be the place to best go against those guys. And like you said, they are going to be a little bit higher owned in single entry as well. And I agree with about 40 to 45% on Spieth in those single entry contests. So I would definitely be faded if I was playing some single entries myself. I'm still doing it. I said I was going to do it in the preview show. I'm going at least 20 lineups in the Millie Maker. If I get those 20 lineups done, which is only 18 more, I mean, it shouldn't take me too long. And if I'm still up drinking coffee right now, so I'm trying to stay up, I'm going to try and make just as many as possible. I might even get up.
11 your time, right?
What's that?
Lock? Isn't lock like 11:30 your time?
No, I'm going to flip over to DraftKings here and we'll have a look. 6 hours, 48 minutes. So that's like, let's just see the Eastern time. I think is what it shows here. Oh yeah, 11:35. So yeah, I'm going to have to.
Oh, you're gold. You're gold. Yeah.
I get to watch quite a bit of golf before I fall asleep tonight. I thought it was 1 a.m.
I gotta wake up at 3 a.m. so I can watch Brooks.
I just gained 2 hours of golf tonight to watch. This is great. I'm in an even better mood than before. But yeah, seeing as we're on DraftKings here, there's some great contests no matter which way. I always talk about for a long time, I never want to go in 150 max if I'm not maxing it, and I'm doing that this week. I just really want to chase that final major. I just want to chase that millie and have one more shot at that millie before next season. So I'm just throwing bankroll management to the wind and just going with as many Millie Maker lineups as I can shove in tonight. And maybe wake up a millionaire. Yeah, probably Monday morning. This is so weird with timing. I really don't even know what's happening. But hopefully wake up Monday morning as a millionaire. But if you're not playing that, there's a ton of other great contests here this week. Like they got the 20 max. I think I'm going to get in this $3 20 max as well with my first 20 lineups that I'm going to build for the Millie Maker and shove it in there as well. There's a bunch of great single entries here. I always like the $12 one. The $1 winner take all is a nice contest as well. If you want to get some cash games, there's some great cash games on here as well. Some tricks to use if you're looking for single entry on DraftKings here, if you're under featured or tournaments, and this is on the computer desktop, obviously, but even if you're on the same filters are on your phone for the app as well, I like to go in the search bar and just search single. And then shuts everything down all the way, filters it all the way just to your single entries here. And if you go tournaments, it'll also get rid of all those double ups as well. So just a few tricks for DraftKings to find the contests easier. I know we get asked a few times in chat how we go and find all these contests that we talk about all the time. And I remember back in the day when I was first getting into it, I would just pretty much enter the contest under featured. Well, those are the ones they want you to enter because those are the ones they need to fill because there's going to be overlay if they don't fill. But if you do some searching, you can find some great contests with some great returns out there, especially for these majors. There's a ton of contests. So just search around for those and just hit us up in chat if you got any questions on that. Any other contests you're looking at? Like you said, the 20 max you were going in this week?
Yeah, I think there's a couple more spots in it. There's about 2,000 spots left in it. I'm doing the $3 20 max, and then I did the 200 single entry, which I think is full. They probably posted another one.
They just got a bunch of 100 singles now.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the 30. How much is the $33 one they have posted now? Single entry, because that's one that I play on normal weeks quite a bit.
33 single. There we go. Yeah, you've had a lot of success in these.
5K.
Like 5K first, and you're only up against 1,400 people.
Yep.
And it pays 330 is $50. So you get a little bit of profit, $17 profit, just 330. Let's just figure out that percentage. 330 divided by 1,413 people. Yeah, you're looking at 23% of the field getting paid. Not quite double your money, but still paying 23% of the field. So pretty good payouts there. Unlike the Millie Makers, the one that I'm going in, where it's $1 million for first and then $100,000 for second. Like, that's a huge discrepancy, and it takes literally, what do we got here? 296,000 people. Yeah, the percentages are very, very low to cash anything big, but I'm going for it. It's my lottery ticket this week. So let's talk about some more players here. This mid-range was tough for me this week, honestly. Going down below that top tier, kind of into that 8K range, Reed and Cantley stand out for me. Those are two guys that I like. I know they're going off in the afternoon on Friday, but I don't really care for the full tournament. If you're playing showdowns, I'm looking more at the early AM wave if you're going that road. That's really the only win wave that I'm really looking at, is just earlier tee times for showdowns, if possible. But for full tournament, I do like both of these guys. They've had a little bit of success at the Opens. Cantley's been dynamite all lately. Top 15s, he's got a win in there. He's excellent around the green. Both of them are excellent around the green. Both are good putters. So they're both on my list, but I don't know where the ownership's going to fall, probably 15 to 20% on both of them. So I don't think you got to make drastic pivots this week because we do have such a loaded field and just so many players that seem underpriced. I guess you could say a lot of value out there. So if you want to pivot away from the Spieths, the Rahms, the Koepkas, or maybe just go with one of them, you can really mix in a lot of these guys in this mid 8K, low 8K range. And I think that's going to give you a little bit of separation. What are your thoughts on that 8K range?
Yeah, the 8K range is fairly interesting. I actually don't think that I'm going to be in that range a whole lot. It's just there's guys in the upper sevens and at the very low 8K range that I do like. But I think I like the top of overall better. And there's some value plays that I like. So I just don't know if anybody in that 8K range much is going to be in my pool. My favorite two would actually be at the very bottom for me this week would be Tommy and Justin Rose would be the two favorites for me. Third in that range would be Scotty Scheffler. If I was going there, not sure if he's going to even make my pool though this week. But I do like getting at least two people above 9K into your lineups because I think there's some good value this week in the low sevens, upper six.
Yeah, and I agree with getting two or three elite players in your lineups here. Normally, like we talk about narratives, this is a good one for narratives. The Masters is a good event for narratives as well. Experience. We talk about experience here. Guys coming in with good form, good open history. Age was one. So that's where maybe Morikawa falls a little bit for me. But going down here a little bit, like looking at some of the ownership on these guys, Shane Lowry really stands out to me at 7,900. I thought he was going to be super high owned. He won that. He's a defending champion 2019. It looks like he's only going to be like 10 to 12% possibly. Lower owned than maybe Fitzpatrick and Joaquin Niemann, Abraham Answer, possibly Berger, even going a little bit lower down into that mid 7K range, who I think is underpriced and I will have as a core play in my player pool as well. But Lowry just kind of fits the bill in terms of win. He stands out as a top 10 win player. What are your thoughts? Are you using him at all? Like, I think I'm going to have almost double the field on him with looking at ownership projections today.
You say Shane Lowry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the core plays for me this week. I really like with where his game is at overall, and we know he can do well over here. Obviously, the defending champ of the Open, and 7,900 is a good price as well. I did expect him to be a little higher in terms of ownership, so I think I'll at least be double the field, maybe more. Honestly, I might end up triple the field in the 20 max. Honestly, on Shane Lowry.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense because he. I mean, like, don't want to say anything bad about everyone else last year, but 6 strokes or 2019, sorry. And it was windy 3 of those 4 rounds at Royal Portrush, and he played so well. it was absolutely incredible. And he comes in with pretty good form here as well. Top tens in 3 of his last 5. Made cuts. Like he's making tons of cuts with top 10 upside on the PGA Tour coming in. So he's coming in with good form. We know he's good at the Open. He's great in the wind. So I agree with you. Double to triple the field on him in that low range. That was really surprising to me. And then Jason Day, someone I'm going to mix in. He's going to be low owned. Probably, I'm guessing like 5% somewhere in there, maybe a little bit more. But I kind of like where his game is at right now. He's got top tens, T6 or better in 3 of his last 4. Not good at the Open. As you can see, oops, that's Lowry. Jason Day I wanted to highlight. Missed the cut in 2019, but he had a good run, T27 or better in 4 straight with a top 5 in 2015. Coming in with back-to-back top 15s himself in terms of form. So I'm going to mix in some Jason Day. I think he makes a nice little pivot for GPP in this range, because I think some guys in this range, like we talked about with Lowry, are already going to be low owned. And I think Day is going to be even lower owned. So I definitely want to mix him in a little bit. And I have found with couple of my first lineups that I put together that after going and putting 2 top guys like Spieth, Koepka was my first build. And then I kind of went down to the value range down here. I tried one with Keegan Bradley. That's one of my top plays here this week as well. And then that kind of brought me into that mid-range. So it was really Shane Lowry, and I know that I'm going to have a ton of exposure to Lowry. I'm probably even going to at one point be at like 60%. I'm going to have to bring that, dial that back a little bit, if you will, and mix in here. So Jason Day is going to be one of those guys that I'm going to mix in as well.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be on Day this week. There's just that range there from 79 to 8,000. Not a big range, but there's quite a few plays right there for me. Fleetwood, Rose, Lowry, and then right below that, sandwiched around Day, is Neiman and Sergio are 2 that I do like. I think Neiman fits this type of golf well. He's able to flight the ball quite good. I didn't want to see 15% owned on him, to be honest. I was hoping he would be sub 10, but 7,700 I think is fine. Obviously, he hasn't shown much over here in the past. The one Open Championship, he missed the cut last time at Portrush. I'll still take my chance on the quality player that he is. Sergio has looked to find a little bit over here. I think he played the Irish and the Scottish. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe so, yeah.
I think he played pretty well there. And 7,600, we know he kind of got off the schneid of the major miscuts at the U.S. Open. Maybe he can carry a little bit over here. We know he's played very well at the Open in the past, throughout his career, really. So I think Sergio for 7,600 is a fine price. And then kind of my favorite play in the mid 7Ks is Berger, and I'm still on him just like I was early in the week. I don't expect him to get out of control popular. There's so many options down here. He's looking at in that 13 to 15 range. Wouldn't hurt my feelings if he's in that range, because I can get overweight on that very easily. And 7,400, I mentioned one of the quotes that I'd read about him was last week. He said he didn't like having to fly the ball all the way to where he needed to land it. He likes being able to bring it in lower, and that fits him quite well over here. So I think 7,400 is quite a big misprice for the number 16 golfer in the world.
Yep, I agree. I'm with you there for sure. We've got a question here asking about FanDuel. Robert asks, would you like Stars and Scrubs build for single entry on FanDuel? I do like the Stars and Scrubs build. So out of my 7 core plays on the list for this week, I'd probably try and fit, like, what do we need here? 4. I would try and get 4 in of the core plays. You can definitely, like, if you get Lowry in there, I think he's going to be lower owned. So that's a core play that isn't going to be high owned. So that I'm fine with 3 players that are going to be like really high owned, which I don't think you're going to be able to get there anyway, because 3 of the highest owned players, I believe, are going to be, Rahm, probably Koepka, I think, and Spieth. Kind of those three right there, I think, are going to take on a lot of ownership, and you're not going to be able to get all three in there. But if you get two of those in there, you can easily go and fit Lowry in there and make it work. Definitely. So it's definitely going to be stars and scrubs. And I think you're going to be fine going that road. Even if you do go Spieth, I think there is enough ways to go and separate the rest of your lineup. But I'm not opposed to going against Spieth and his ownership and maybe jamming Rahm and Koepka together. That's going to be a lot lower owned than, say, a Spieth and Koepka or Spieth and Rahm, I believe, just because of the price. I think a lot of people on FanDuel will be going Koepka Spieth. I really do feel that's the way the build is going to go. Probably the chalk 2-man stack, I would think. So if you want to be a little bit different, I do like Rahm and Koepka there. Hope that answers your question. Awesome. Thanks for the question. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for joining as well. Make sure to smash up that like button, share this on Twitter. If you came in and joined through Twitter, make sure to share, retweet, like. Really do appreciate that. And if you're not a member, I posted in chat here. We do have another free roll this week. Details are in the description, as well as the link to the free roll. It's $50 Fanatics gift card given away again. And if you are a patron member or a DFSR member, I will double that if you win the free roll this week. So make sure to get in that. If you're not if you want to become a patron, you're not yet. We do have, I posted above as well. We do have free trials. We started. I believe it was yesterday we rolled that out. So you can go and grab that link, and I'll post it here again before the end of the show. Gets you into our Discord channel, into our members chat, our winning picks chat, and our trial member channel as well. And we are posting, like limited content, screenshots of stuff from our other sheets and from our other chats to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what we do offer. And if you do want to join, you can head over to patreon.com/JagerBombs. For $10 American, $13.50 Canadian, you can sign up for one sport, or $20 American, $27 Canadian gets you access to all sports. We cover 13 sports. Right now, there's like 6 or 7 that are live, and we cover everything from soccer to CFL football, NHL, League of Legends, NFL coming up again pretty soon here, college basketball, college football, MLB, tennis, NASCAR, NBA, PGA, and UFC as well. So go over to patreon.com/JagerBombs and join us today, and make sure to get into that free roll. Something else I wanted to mention here was some prize picks. So they had a big announcement today. They've rolled out some new single stat DFS for PGA, and no longer do you have to have one over and one under. That was the biggest thing that hung me up anyway on playing as much PGA on prize picks, but that is gone now, and they added final finishing place. So as you can see here, like Rory McIlroy, 19.5, you go the under, he needs to finish 19th or better. If you pick the over, he finishes outside the top 20 or top T20 or worse. So there's some values here this week, and they also have a promotion. If any of the players that you pick, and I've obviously got my 2 favorites up here this week, would be under. So that's top 20s for Spieth and Koepka. If one of those two, like if I go $100 here on a power play, one of those two wins, they both get top 20, or actually it's a top 3, first, second, or third. Prize picks will double your prize. So even if you just go $10, you win 30. If both of them get top 20s, and if one of them gets first, second, or third as well, they will double your prize. You'll get $60. So it's like a 6x return. And some of these values just seem incredible. We were talking about this offline. Like, for instance, Schauffele needs a 17th or better to hit the under on his, while you get Brooks and Jordan at a top 20 or better. That just seems insane to me. I like locking those in, or even Berger at the top 40 finish for the under. You scroll down a little bit more. Justin Thomas needs a top 20 on his. Some other ones that stand out, like Harris English as a top 40 finish as well. So you can go and build these prize picks this week. And if you sign up, I've also got the link down below. You will get 100% deposit match up to $100. If you've never tried out prize picks before, just by using our link in the description as well. I'm also going to tag that link in the comments. So Dane, I want to know who your favorite value play, who you're going to have the most exposure to. Let's just say like 7K, 7,200, whatever, and lower. Like if you're going stars and scrubs, you're going to mix in 2 of these top guys. Who are you going to first of all?
Yeah, so there's quite a few down here. Favorite one would probably be Brandon Grace. I kind of expected him to be very high owned. Some of the talks early in the week, but if he's going to be around the 10% range, I see no problem going there. At 7,200, Bobby McIntyre 7,300 is a good price. And I'll be back in on Ricky Fowler 7,300. He just crushes it over here. He won't have to hit driver. It's kind of like the Fleetwood deal that I was talking about early in the week. He can club down a little bit off the tee. I think that will help him with where his game's at right now. Alex Noren would be another good option at 7,200. He's played very well, top 20s in his last 3 opens, in decent form as well. And then crossing down into that 6K range. My 2 favorite plays below 7K are going to be Stuart Sink and Kevin Kisner, both at 6,900. I like the way Kisner's irons have came around. He's not the longest hitter, which I think obviously does not hurt him at all here. And Sink, he's kind of been consistent in the Open over the years, and he's a previous winner, as we know. Breaking Tom Watson's heart there.
That sucked.
And both at 6% and almost 5%. So that's nothing crazy at all. Nobody ever gets super popular down here. So Kisner and Sink would be my favorite 2 below 7K. And then my favorite off-the-wall GPP play would be Aaron Rai at 6,800. He plays pretty well. I think this over on the European Tour. I believe this is his Open debut. Yeah.
Yep.
But he's been pretty consistent last 3 events, playing pretty well. So 6,800, I think his game, I think he's a very good iron player, and I think sets up well for this venue.
Yes, I'm with you there. I do like Noren. You know, if you look at his form, it seems like he's either like bottom of the field miscut or like pushing top 10. So he's more of a like GPP mixing in for sure. If you're playing cash games, I'd maybe stay away from him. Other guys that I like down here, Richard Bland, playing very well. Actually, especially on the European Tour, absolutely crushing there. I had him on the sheet. I just can't. There he is. So only 1 appearance in the Open. That was 2017, finished T22, coming in with excellent form across the board. That includes Euro Tour as well as PGA Tour, just super cheap. So I'm going to be mixing him in here as well. I think some chalk falls on Herbert a little bit. And then I also talked about Keegan Bradley. I love the ball striking. He's awesome in the wind. You mentioned Ricky Fowler. I love him. Same reason. He's just really, really good in the wind. Like if it gets windy, these guys know how to flight the ball really well and low enough. Like we talked about that with Daniel Berger as well, his being underpriced on DK. So like those guys, Bland and Bradley for sure. Like Bland doesn't look like he's going to get any ownership whatsoever, no matter how well he's been playing. So I'm definitely going to be on that. Might even be a little bit more than Keegan Bradley. Now I'm going to have to adjust my rankings, I think, now looking at ownership, being that you may only need like 1 lineup is going to be almost more than the field. So I'll probably have him in 2 and maybe Keegan in 3 so I can have more than the field than him too. But moving down a little bit, I do like Lucas Glover. He plays well in the wind. He's a good ball striker. And in my model, what I was looking at here on Fantasy National over the last 24 rounds is what really stood out to me. You know, you see some stats that really don't stand out, but what did was he's 26th in fairways gained, 23rd in strokes gained around the green, 24th in par 4 scoring, and 16th in birdie or better. Those are some key areas for links golf. He's got some history on links golf as well. T20 in 2019, and then going back, like he missed a couple cuts 2013, 2012, but he got T12 back in 2011 here at this course. So I mean that's not something I'm weighing into any model this week, but it's just really nice to see that he fits in every other area that I'm looking at statistically, form. He's coming off a win, and then you just throw that in that he has played here back in the 2011 Open and finished T12 there, so he's got some experience to maybe just fall back on. even though it is going to play a little bit different, wider fairways and a little bit bigger greens that we talked about in the preview show. And if you didn't check out our preview show and you want to check out our picks on there, we talk about a few more other plays in there as well. Make sure to go check that out. That was on Monday, and I'm going to grab the link here and share it for you. Any other strategy things you're looking at this week, or any final thoughts you want to go over?
Yeah, Dobo was asking about Palmer, and I really, coming into the week, didn't think of him as a Lynx player, but he does have some good history here, or decent history here. 3 top 30s back in 2011, 15, and 16. And he played pretty well last week at the Scottish Open. So maybe he is another play down here. He's not one of my favorites, like I mentioned. Kisner and Stewart Sink are going to be the top 2 below 7 for me. But yeah, you could definitely mix him in.
You've definitely got me on Sink here. I'm not sure I can get on Kisner. I can't. I've already got enough lower end guys that I want to be a little bit overweight on some of these guys, so they're not going to mix in. If I get over that 20 lineups, though, Kisner's definitely right there on the cut line of getting into my player pool. But I never like to just have one lineup of a guy if I'm building, if that makes any sense. I like to just have multiple lineups. If a guy goes off, obviously you want to have more than one shot. That's kind of how I like building my cores and my lineups, is having multiple shots if your core guys go off. So that's how I'm going about that bottom range. And there's just so much value here that you just really have to make a stand. Narrow. I love narrowing my player pool. Like I said, I'm at 15, 16 now with Sink in there. And if I get over 20, I'm probably only going to stretch that up into like 20, 25 max players in the field. I'm going to be wrong on some players. I'm going to be right on some players. I just hope that I'm maybe wrong on the low-owned players and right on the high-owned players, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Well, if there's no other questions here, we kind of went over a little bit of everything. Actually going to look at a build here over on DFSR. I know I got a few DFSR people in here watching. So I locked in Berger, Spieth. If you want to lock in another one, this is kind of the way I go about it. If you want to build 50 lineups, and I'm going to go ahead and do this, I might actually go in like the 25 cent and start playing with 3 optimizers with Fanshare Sports, 50 lineups with DFSR, and 50 lineups with Moosenomics with the Fantasy National Golf Club as well. Just kind of see how it goes. But I do like locking Brooks, Spieth, and then Daniel Berger at that price, and just kind of running it for 50 lineups. I just want to show you the difference for anyone that is new here, looking at these filters, how you can go and diversify your lineups. So if you keep that randomness at 0, the diversity is going to be, you're going to see a lot of the same players throughout, like almost 40% of these other guys throughout the lineup. So a lot of the lineups are going to look the same. You start tweaking that and go up to 100 with that one, it's just going to expand your player pools, what you're doing with that filter. It's one of my favorite filters. Looks like I got to go through and audit a few guys. Those final touches will be done up tonight. But overall, I do like going at about a 50 when I'm doing 50 lineups. I don't like my player pool extended too much. I do like keeping it small, like I talked about earlier. So that's one of the key filters that I do like looking at. And if you want to build, let's just say, a balanced lineup and kind of stay away from the stars and scrubs, one thing that I do like doing as well, like if you're doing 50 max, of course, we only can do up to 50, but I do like building them in blocks of 50. So I'll use one filter system with 3 locks for one set of 50 lineups, and then I'll go ahead and maybe change 2 of the locks, but then I will also change some of these basic filters. I like taking this to 9,900 and then kind of staying above 7K. So I'll set this at 7K, which really narrows your player pool down, but gives you a really nice balanced build of 50 lineups. And then if you want more guys in that range from 7 to 99, just go ahead and fire up that randomness filter. Just a few different tools that you can use and a few different filters to go ahead and build lineups with the DFSR tools. If you got any questions with that, I'm going to be in DFSR chat pretty much right up to lock tonight. So just hit me up. I will have that chat open. And if you have questions for me and Dane going into tonight, we are going to be in our Discord chat. This is all the channels that we have here. Oh, I'm not even sharing the screen, Dane. I'm going through the Discord chat, telling people about it. I don't even have it up. Let's just flip over to that and have a quick look at that. our main members chat. We got our PGA talk. We'll be in there answering questions. You can DM us in here as well. Here is our winning picks if you want to check that out. This is for our trial members. So if anyone's joining through trials, looks like we got one joining here. Thanks for joining, DFS Dirty Mike. Love the name. Absolutely awesome. Head over to the trial members. This is where you're going to find our schedule of content for Patreon. This is where you're going to find our links to our videos. This is where we've got screenshots of some of our from some of our sheets, so you can see exactly what we provide. So make sure to go check that out. Patreon.com/Jagerbombs. That is where you will find if you want to sign up for that as well. Thank you for joining, everyone. Let's go build some winning lineups, and we'll see you in winning picks on Sunday night/Monday morning because of the weird timing.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck out there.